Okay, good afternoon and welcome everyone. I hope everyone is doing well today. I am Deacon Pete. I am responsible for ministry expansion here at Renew International, and I am joined today by Paul Krenzelak. So Paul, would you like to say a few words and get us started?
Sure. And Pete, maybe while I say a few words, you can pull and share the screen up, but I can just give you a couple of things. So I am another staff person from Renew International, and I'm kind of serving as Pete's tech assistant today. And what I want to let you know is that this video webinar will be recorded. So you will automatically receive this recording within the next day or so. And the other thing I want to let you know is that we'd love for you to ask questions throughout. So as you can see down in your toolbar on the bottom, there's a Q&A box. And any questions you have, you can put in there. And maybe we can answer them in real time, or if not in real time, then at the end. So stay tuned at the end and we'll for sure get to any questions you may have. And Pete, right now I'm seeing both your slide and the next slide.
All right, so let me try to change that so we can, so hang on one second.
Sure. So we're excited to be here with you, and I hope you really like this. And there's been a lot of interest in Baptism Matters, particularly because probably while you're here, it's completely online, and that's one of its great features. So Pete, actually, if you had that last screen and then just hit begin slideshow, that would probably do it for you.
All right, so hang on a second.
Thanks for your patience, everybody.
How's that, Paul?
That is perfect. All right, everybody, we're ready to go.
All
So
right, hang
Pete,
on
we'll
a
hand it
second.
back to you.
All right, so let me just get in here. And nothing like having technical difficulty, but we're going to try to get this done. I don't know what's going on. Hang in there.
Sure.
Sorry, everyone.
So you're just trying to advance, Pete?
I am, and that's what I'm having difficulty with. So let's try doing this again.
So as Pete's doing this, and I'm sure he'll figure it out shortly here, I can do just a little bit of baptism intro, and Pete's going to talk about this stuff. But as you know, it is a completely online program, which these days more than ever is very, very important and very valuable. And I think one of the things that people really like about it is that they can do this from the convenience of their own home. So
Are you seeing?
What's that?
Paul, are you seeing the screen now?
No, I'm not, just you. Are you sharing, screen sharing?
Yep, we're going to do it right now. How's that?
Yep, I'm seeing the first slide. Does it advance?
I don't know what the tech, I don't know why it's not. Are we seeing that one?
No, I'm still just seeing the first slide. Not working?
Not working.
All right. There is a thank you from the panelists. It says, are you in the present mode?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
All right.
So let's do it. Let's try it again here.
So sorry, folks. Thanks for your patience. Still not seeing anything. Okay.
How's that?
I see the screen. Yep. First slide. Does that advance?
Okay. I think we got it.
There you
All right,
go.
good.
Okay.
Thank you, Paul. All right.
You're
And thanks
welcome.
everybody for your
Yeah.
patience.
All right.
Best laid plans always go awry.
Thanks, Ann. All right.
So for those of you who know Renew, that's great. For those who have no knowledge of Renew, Renew has been helping people grow in faith and community via small group experience for over 40 years. We were among the first to do it, and we are still considered a well-known authority on small faith sharing communities. So baptism matters. You know, years ago in formation to become a deacon, I was required to read a wonderful book called The Doors to the Sacred. And the book not only went through the historical significance of the sacraments deeply rooted in Jewish tradition, but how they were fulfilled through Jesus. But they talked about how each of one of those impart a certain grace to bring us closer to God. And during the discussion on baptism, the sacrament of baptism, the author made a very good point to say that baptism bestowed upon us sanctifying grace. It was the grace that freed us from sin, and it opened a door to heaven and eternal life. And it is something that has been very important to most Catholics in the past. Today, with changing culture and the thinking of some young people, although we know how important baptism is, others may not appreciate that. And it becomes difficult to get young parents with children into the doors of the church and to the font of baptism. I suspect that some of us here today on the line, I know my own self, we have had experience sometimes in our own families and circle of friends that a new baby arrives and there's no urgency to get that new angel baptized. As a deacon, helping to officiate at baptisms in the last 10 years, I have baptized more 5 to 12-year-olds than ever before. Although it might be something in the mind of a young set of parents, there doesn't seem to be an urgency as it was in the past. I know for my own self, when my mother had me, the thinking then was to baptize babies within 3 days. In fact, I was baptized while my mother was still in the hospital. Today, that becomes a little bit more difficult. So, in trying to put together a meaningful program for preparation, Renew decided to take a look at some of the resources that were available, some of the research about young people. So I'll show you some things that came out of the Pew study. A lot of this is not going to be a big surprise to any of you. But when we looked at the Pew study, we discovered that, it reaffirmed what we already know, that today, young families are very tech-oriented. Young people want things that they can get very quickly. They want things that are very current. They want responsive communication that will adapt to them. They want things that they only need to look at once and then they can move on. In fact, they want things that they can get from this. You know, everybody's life revolves around the internet and their cell phone or tablet or computer. And as the slide shows, you know, most young people have a very, very crazy, busy life. One of the interesting things that came out of that Pew study was that young children by the age of 3 are also having their lives booked. You know, when my children were young, my son was involved in baseball and my girls went to dance school. Today, my grandchildren belong to 4 and 5 different things. And then my son and daughter-in-law want to know on the weekend why they're so exhausted. So we're doing a lot. Young people are doing a lot. Some of the other characteristics which are not very surprising is that today we have more non-traditional homes than we have in the past. Today, there are more single mother, single dad homes. There are other relatives raising children, grandparents, aunts and uncles. And we have families that are all dealing with different situations. Also, we have discovered, again, not very surprising, that for young people, not all young people are as well catechized as in previous generations of young parents in the 70s, 80s, and even early 90s. You know, you talk to a young person today and they'll tell you that they are not so interested in going to a building. They have a relational affiliation with their God, and it's not necessary for them to follow rules or go into buildings. So that's something to keep in mind when you want to reach young people. But the one thing that we do know is young people are still looking for community. And because of how mobile our society is and how some young families are not close to biological families, you know, seeking support from non-family members, but from friends is important. And sometimes that family can be the workplace, and it certainly can be the local church. So in using all of what we know and what we see, we try to use some tips for working with young people and for how we would devise our baptism prep program. So we realize that welcome really does matter. For young people, if you survey them, and I have done this in the past a number of times, as to why they're leaving the church, they will tell you that they have not felt welcome, and they are trying to go to places where they do feel welcome. Now, whether that's physical contact or electronic today in the world, that the crisis we're living in, or whether it's in print, all of it is very important. Young people need to feel welcomed, they need to feel worthwhile, they need to feel appreciated. So we know that. Along with that, we need to be able to embrace the technology. We need to talk the same language they're talking. So whatever we were doing in order to prepare them, we knew that it would have to be something that would be using technology. So being 100% online was what we were going for and what we achieved. And that online program would have to be something that would be very robust, easy to navigate, easy to search through, and to be constantly updated and changed. This is what young people are looking for. Also, because of the very busy schedules, we needed to offer something that had flexible scheduling options. We really wanted a program that would be available to young people whenever they wanted it to be available. And so, again, we can do that by having something that's totally online. Some other things that we used in considering how we would craft our program is to meet people where they are. Again, going back to the fact that young parents, depending upon what their background is, the types of family they came from, may not be along the same faith journey. So we wanted a program that would meet people where they are, again, along with the second point, starting with the basics, that we would offer a program that was not judgmental, but would be an accompanying program. And I think we accomplished that too, because we started at ground zero. We also wanted to give young families an opportunity to meet others in the parish, particularly other young families or other families that were very strong in their own faith. One thing we wanted to do with this particular preparation program was to make it so that young families coming in for the very first time, possibly into your parishes, would have opportunity to be engaged. That's why we wanted it to be welcoming. And it begins basically when they walk into the rectory and meet the very first staff person, to feel important, to feel engaged. And then we wanted this program to be an outreach to others so that we can involve other people in a parish to invite young parents, not only into a baptismal prep program, but also to get them involved and get them engaged in parish life. And I'll show you how we do that later. So using all of this, what makes Baptism Matters different? Well, first, as we said, it is totally online. All the components, everything is online. All of the resources are downloadable. All of the parent modules cover all of the topics outlined in the general directory for catechesis for the sacrament of baptism, and it is updated as often as need be, as you can see here. Okay. This is an important point, allowing for identical formation for all families in the program. For those of you who have joined me today that are working in teams, I'm sure that you've gotten together from time to time to make sure that everything that you would like your new young families to know is imparted by whoever's doing the baptismal prep. But I am sure that due to human nature, that's not always the case. I used to work as a team, but as my team members dropped off, I'm the one who usually does baptism prep. When I did it in my parish prior to using Baptism Matters, it would be approximately 90 minutes on my end, sometimes longer depending upon how many families were in that evening session. When I asked my pastor to cover for me, when I wasn't able to do it, baptism prep that night was 15 minutes. So I know not everything that I wanted to be covered was covered. Having an online program where every set of parents sees the exact same thing, you can be assured that they are hearing everything that you want them to hear. And the program will free up parish staff and volunteers from the catechetical work to then devoting their time with young families to form a true pastoral relationship. Now, we recommend that you still meet with young parents twice. Once at the very beginning, where you will collect your information and you can get to learn a little bit about them. And then they would go through the modules, and then we recommend that you meet with them again. And the second meeting could be a much deeper interpersonal relationship kind of thing, where you can also discover many of the talents and the skills that this new young family may have that you might want to encourage them to use to enrich your parish and for them to be able to use for themselves and help other people. We also recommend that you use a mentor set of parents. Now, this is very interesting too, because we have been doing that in my parish and in some other parishes that are using Baptism Matters, where we thought that it might be young couples wanting young mentoring families. We found that they are gravitating towards more mature or older sets of parents. And I think that young people are looking to older parents because they not only want some support with baptism, but they might also want some new parenting advice on a practical level. And it's worked out really well. The program involves and includes interview guide and forms that you can use or not use. Again, you can customize this any way you want. You can use things or not use things. I have parishes that have reported saying, hey, your interview guides are much more in depth than what we're using, and we like it. We also like the idea that if we use your interview guide, it's electronic, and we have an electronic record, and we do not need to have a print form. So again, that's totally up to you, but it is available for your use. We also supply you with an in-person meeting guide where we have prayers and faith sharing and discussion opportunities, questions, and information for you to use. So we do recommend that you have a meeting of young parents who are baptizing their children in the same period of time. We do it quarterly, where we run these, and gives an opportunity for these young families to get to know other young families in the parish and also in the towns where you live. It has been a real gift to my parish. In fact, it worked out really well and has spawned the formation of a young mothers group. So that was something very good, and I have found that other parishes that are doing something similar and using Baptism Matters, they are finding that parents are continuing, some parents, not all, are continuing to meet once their children are baptized. The other thing that Baptism Matters will help you with is that there are automatic follow-ups to birthdays and anniversaries of baptisms. One of the things that we hope to accomplish with this program is that we would close that catechetical gap between baptism and First Holy Communion. We wanted to close that gap of non-communication. So we do have opportunities to keep in touch with parents. Right now, these are automatic. We are working on ways for you to customize some kind of communication to all of your parents so that in that period of time, again, between baptism and First Holy Communion, you can be engaged with all of these young parents. So let me quickly...
Deacon Pete,
yes,
we have a few questions. Could we take a pause for a second just to handle a couple of these?
Absolutely.
All right, so there's 3 actually. The first one is, how long does it take parents to go through the modules?
Very good. So that was what I was going to get into next. And if we can hold off on that question, we'll be getting to that in the next couple of slides.
All right, and then the second one, is there information on training mentors in this program?
So there is a little bit of it, and it's something that we are currently working on, and I'll show you when I go through the next few slides, a space in the program where we're continually adding new information.
All right, and then Spanish, what about Spanish? Is this available?
So at the current moment in time, it is not available in Spanish, but it is something that is on the top of our mind and we are working toward it.
All right, great, thank you.
Okay, so let me show you that if you decide that your parish is good for a good match for Baptism Matters, you would end up getting a personal login, which will look like this. And once you decide to do Baptism Matters, you will get a login email. An account will be automatically generated for you. You will see this particular screen. You will log in, and it'll immediately bring you to a page like this. This is your personal admin view, and you will be able to see here, if you notice, there are tabs up on the top. This is the dashboard. This will show you your parish and all of the people on the left-hand side are all of the parents that were users, are users. You will also see as an aggregate for the parish, you will get to see the progress of everyone that has been signed up. So you get to see everything that's being done within the parish. If you decide that you want to see an individual set of parents, and for this, I clicked on the first set here, which of the first individual, which was Dan. Dan is a godparent, so it'll go directly to Dan's page, and you'll end up seeing Dan's performance. So he has 100% completed the godparent module. And Dan will also be able to create a certificate which would be emailed to you, or he can email it if he's doing participating in a baptism out of state for a relative or friend. He can email it to the parish out of state to prove that he's been prepared. Same thing for parents. It would be the same thing. Parents also get a certificate of completion. So now we're going to go up here. So remember that if I go back a slide, you'll see up on the top, there are different tabs, and one of which is resources. So if you were to click on the resource page, you will end up seeing this, which then if you scroll down, you will see this. So to answer the question about ideas of how to, what to work on with mentors, this is the area where, as you could see, we have orders for instructions for ordering licenses, which I'll get to, a parish admin guide. So it lists everything there for the staff to use. It lists on the bottom a program overview, but the last item on the upper line to the right, which is family resources, in that particular tab will be all the updates that we are adding continually for parents. So one of the last thing that we added in there was a PDF with guidelines for choosing good godparents. We'll also put another tab in here where we'll put other resources, and we will also have in there for the, we will update things for, choosing mentors, or we will constantly put things in there when we get feedback from coordinators, best practices on what worked well for small faith sharing and getting parents together. I can say again that a lot of the updates that we have done have come from coordinators who have used this in the last 5 months during this crisis. We actually pushed this out for use, and it's been doing very well in some places. And so now to answer the question about the modules, there are 6 modules in the staff course. There are 4 for parents and 3 modules for godparents. Each module is approximately 20 minutes. So if you were to go through it from start to finish without taking any break, each module would be about 20 minutes. But it's a self-guided instruction, so you could take as long as you want. You proceed at your own pace. I had one coordinator time herself. It took her approximately 290 minutes to go through all of the staff modules, all of the parent modules, all of the godparent modules. All right. So now I'd like to give you a little bit of a flavor very quickly as to what the modules look like. All of them have a similar structure. So I'm going to show you a little bit from the parent module 1. Every module begins with an opening prayer. You go from an opening prayer to different things. So here in the both the parent module and the godparent module, we do have testimonials. So we would have these. This is one. Here we have a story, Tom and Amy's story of how they got to bring their baby in for baptism. Again, each module is a combination of reading material and videos. So here we have some videos where we have some personal faith stories. Then we do a little bit of catechesis, where parents would then be directed to do some reading. And as you can see here on the bottom, it's self-guided. You can go to the next page, you can go back to the previous page. One of the things I also like to say here is that if a parent is doing this at 1 o'clock in the morning when their colicky baby finally gets 5 minutes of sleep and parent gets 5 minutes of rest, they can go in here and do 5 minutes, they can leave. When they come back into the program, they're brought right back to where they're left off. And if they want to go back to a page to refresh, they can, or they can proceed. So then we can go back. All through the module, we continually remind parents that baptism is a celebration of community, that our faith is communal, and that baptism is one of those sacraments that are celebrated as a community. And so everyone in the parish is together, and that when a person is baptized into church, they become part of that community. You, as young parents, are bringing a person into that community, and you need to be engaged in that community. So we are constantly trying to encourage parents to be part of parish life. Again, we do a little bit more training. In between that training is also self-assessments. So as they work along, they're getting videos, they're getting reading material, they're also getting a couple of quick questions just as knowledge checks to see where they're at and make sure that they're understanding the material that's being presented. All right, so that's a little bit of what the program looks like. Again, in the last 5 months, with parishes across the country using this, I have been getting some feedback from parents and godparents telling me that they appreciate the fact that it is online, that they're able to do this at their convenience, that it's easy. Now, I won't hide the fact that, it's a new program and we've had some hiccups along the way, but we've had some very generous and understanding people who have given us good feedback, and we've worked through a lot of the issues. So the program is as good as it's going to get right now. I think I'm going to show you, I did show you what it would look like when you sign in. And I showed you the Cathedral Parish of St. Matthew. They were the very first parish to pilot this other than my own. And I think the feedback from the coordinator there, Teresa Primachevsky, kind of says it all. And Teresa says, baptism matters is theologically sound, pastorally sensitive, and extremely user-friendly. And this kind of sums up all of the feedback that I'm hearing from people, okay? So now I'm sure that some of you are saying, hey, hurry up and tell me what this thing will cost. And the parish investment for Baptism Matters is an initial first-year fee of $299, okay? $299 will give you access to everything online and all of the webinar and the support that you might need from me or someone here from Renew. It is a subscription model so that each subsequent year to have access into the online support, it's then half price, $150 every year after the first year. For parents and godparents, it's $25 per license. And licenses can be used can be bought in one of two ways. And right now, I would say that it's done 50-50 by the parishes that are participating. So 50% of the parishes right now are letting godparents go on their own and purchase the same way they would purchase through the Amazon, for example. They can log on to a particular website, which is renewonline.org, and they click on that. They click on the module they want, whether it's parent or godparent. They give a credit card, and bingo, they're automatically into the system. 50% of the other 50% of parishes are purchasing the licenses for parents and godparents and then distributing them as they see fit. But that is what the cost is. Now for the $299, by the way, what you're getting is your account, your setup, your dashboard, your ability to add parents in, all of the ability to measure and monitor their progress, help them along. You get all the forms, all of the support, everything for the year. Okay. And if you want to get more information, you can either go to the Renew International website or you can email me directly. I would appreciate you doing that because I can then send you specifically what you would want and what you would need. And I can even, if you'd like to have a conversation with me, talk to you. I can also do something for you if you want. I can give you a 7-day free access to the program. So I can grant you access to everything online and to use it and to view all of the modules for staff, parents, and godparents for 7 days with no cost. And I think that's probably the best way to determine whether this makes sense for your parish or not.
Deacon Pete, we have a couple other questions here.
Yeah, so that's where I'm at now. So,
all right, great. So first question, how do you see utilization of this program affecting a currently active baptism team? Are they without a job?
no. So we're not looking to displace a team of people. What we are trying to do is try to support that. So again, this is to take the training and to put it online. And right now, I would suspect that right now, and I could be wrong, but what I'm hearing across the country right now is that most teams are not meeting with families in person. Now, if you're meeting with young families through Zoom meetings, the way we're doing right now, that's great. And I applaud that. But I would say that 99% of all the people I speak to in the last couple of months, even up until last night, they are not meeting with young parents. And so this would serve a good purpose of being able to have parents go online and get all of the training. And then they can reach out to anybody on the team to have either an in person when we get ready to do that again, or if you're at that point, or a Zoom meeting to go beyond the catechetical, all right? Even when we're able to meet in person, this is going to serve the purpose of meeting young parents, okay, where they're at. If meeting, I used to meet people every first Tuesday of the month, and that got to be really difficult for some parents, particularly in bad weather. It's like, I can't get a babysitter. I don't want to bring my baby out into the rain and the snow. I have to cancel. So when I started doing, things online, it was much better. And then, that gave them more time to arrange for opportunity for either a better weather day to bring the baby to meet me in person or arrange for a babysitter. So we're not looking to put anybody out of work, including me. It's to enhance what you're doing. Now, the other thing is some coordinators have said to me, I'll take my team now, and rather than use them to catechize, they can use them to double check you know, if these parents actually learned what they needed to learn online. That's one thing. But I can use them now as mentors and assign them to individual parents, sets of parents. So you can become a little creative there. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, there's a question about license, so I want to get to that, but there's a follow-up kind of just what you're talking. So I'm not sure if it'd be helpful to address it anymore. The follow-up would be, what would be the role of the baptism prep team during use of the modules and after? Is there anything else you would want to add to what you said?
No, the only other thing is, you know, again, not every one thing is good for everyone. So if you feel that there are parents that you would rather meet with in person, then you can go right ahead and do it that way. Look, if you're a particular parish that has a very good and very successful baptism prep program, right, and it's been working for you, I'm going to say then Baptism Matters Online may or may not serve a function for you. Okay, not everything is meant for everyone. So yeah.
And if I could add a little bit to this question, and I think you basically said it, but maybe to say it another way, is that the in-person component, which is really meant to be pastoral, seeing like that the parents will get a lot of this information online, but there is a component of the in-person that reviews the catechetical parts too.
Sure.
I mean, so it's kind of a reinforcement.
Yep.
So
yeah,
just want to add that.
Absolutely. And you know, one of the things that I hear that I have always heard, and one of the things that I've personally experienced, is that in trying to get somebody trained into what it means to baptize your baby and the importance of it, then many times I lost an opportunity to be able to sit in front of a set of parents and say, okay, let's talk about something other than baptism, but your role in parish life. And I think that if you got people prepared online, and as Paul says, you want to reinforce some of that in your meeting, but also go beyond that, then this can allow you to do that. You can spend a lot more time in a relationship meeting than in a catechetical meeting.
Great. Okay, I'm going to get to the, still have a couple of questions, so thank you. The questions are great.
What about the license question, Paul?
Yeah, that's right. Can you clarify, does license mean per user? So one for parents and one for each godparent if they are not a couple? Or is it one per family seeking baptism for like parents and godparents combined?
Yeah. So it's one license. Okay, so there are different courses. There's a course for parents and a course for godparents. So the parents are in the same location, the same family unit together, then it's one license. And similar for the godparents, it would be a separate, because they're buying a different course. So you would have 4 people, 2 parents buying one license for parent modules and one license for godparents. If, however, the godparents are in different states and they're not together, then that's a separate license for each one of those. The other thing is, if parents are going to be physically separated because one parent is traveling for work, then and using a different device and not physically in the same place, that's also a separate license.
And then also, interesting question, could parishes use Baptism Matters in a hybrid model? Maybe gather people for one of the modules, let's say.
Yes. So in other words, I need a little more clarification.
Well, so I think what Carol's asking is like, let's say if you want to do some of the catechesis in person, like that would cover one of the modules, but maybe some of it online. That's
sure.
what I hear. So maybe gather people for one of the modules.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, yeah. So who presented that? Carol? Carol?
Yeah,
yes.
Carol.
You can.
Go ahead.
You can customize this in any way that would work well for you. The course for parents has four modules, and you can have them view any one of those in their own time and in their own space. And then all you would need is the ability to view this in a space where you can project it and people can, you'd have to have the technology to be able to do this, to go through it with them. But yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And you can utilize team members to do that. Yeah.
And can parents rewatch a module more than once?
Absolutely. Once a parent or godparent purchases a license, they have 1 full year to have access.
Okay.
Yep.
And what do you think? It says, is the cost prohibitive for some churches?
So I'll be honest with you, I have not had any parish to date say that it was prohibited. But I will say that there are a good number of parishes who said that since they already ask for a donation from parents, that they would use some of that donated money to purchase the license for them.
Okay.
I also have parishes that say they would ask their parents to pay, but if it was prohibited, that they would pay the $25. So I haven't had anybody quibble about that, because I think, and I don't know, that might be a product of what we're going through right now. Right now, parishes are using this because they're getting a large backlog of baptisms that need to be performed, and they're using the time while parents are home and together to get them prepared. So
great. And then how about how many people or devices can be on a single admin license?
One. Oh, on an admin license. Okay, good question. So the administrator or the admin of a parish will have full access to all 3 courses: staff, godparents, and parents. That admin can add up to 4 additional coordinators who have access to staff modules only. However, if you purchase Baptism Matters and you would like the other staff members to view the parents and godparent modules, I can grant them access, limited access.
And then a comment, maybe if you want to comment anymore. And Carol, I'm not quite sure I understand, so you can clarify. It just says the parent fee seems reasonable. The parent-godparent cost seems cost prohibitive, especially if parents. And it just says can use multiple devices. So I'm not sure what the last part. Oh, can't use. Oh, the godparent cost seems cost prohibitive if parents can't use multiple devices. But I believe parents can use multiple devices, can't they?
Actually, no. No. The license covers 1 device.
Okay.
Okay. And that's not something, okay, so we use My Catholic Faith Delivered as our platform for administering this, and they charge a fee per device to administer this. So that's something that's beyond our control here, but it was deemed equitable because this is what has been done by them in every program they use nationwide with other organizations other than Renew International to administer their programs. But if someone is in the same physical location, then that license will cover both parents. Unfortunately, if you are separated, it's a separate fee. Now, I have had that happen in a good number of parishes in the last 5 months. No one has complained to me at this point. Now, that's not to say that might not be an issue in some places, but I haven't run across it yet.
Okay, great questions, everybody. Let me see if there are there any other questions? Not seeing any other questions, Deacon Pete.
Okay, that's good. Again, I'll go back a slide. That's my information. If you haven't visited the Renew website, I would encourage you to go on renewinternational.org, scroll down to Baptism Matters, click on it, and that will direct you at the bottom to a demo video. The video is just a little bit longer than 3 minutes. It'll give you a little bit of flavor, different flavor for the program. I suggest that you maybe check that out. And then I also suggest that you can contact me and I will give you access to the program. And, you know, in my mind, I'm one of the people who would like to touch and feel something before. I mean, you know, I know a lot of people buy cars online, but I'm still old fashioned. I like to go in a showroom. So I'll allow you to walk into the Renew Baptism Matters showroom and take a test drive.
All right, well, thank you everybody so much for being here today. Thank you for your engagement and all the terrific questions. They're wonderful. And Deacon Pete, is there anything else you have before we sign off?
Nope, I thank you, Paul, for your assistance. Once again, I thank everybody here for their patience earlier before we started, and I wish you well. I will pray for yours and your family and friends' safety, and God bless you all.
All right, God bless you all. So Pete, you can sign us off.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.